Hands up, who remembers the days when if there was a problem and you couldn't fix it, you just thought of something good to do and just make it work anyway? In some countries, that still is the case, and New Zealand is one of them. Dragging the carpet behind him with all these kids just going... In this week's show, we're going to share with you some brilliant examples of Kiwi ingenuity and let you see that where there's a will, there really is a way. It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
I'm Brian from the Hacienda.
And today we are back to bring you some Kiwi life. First of all, thank you so much for your patience. We're a little bit late uploading this week. We've been to the King's Coronation, so, you know, we've been busy. And we just thought we'd put it back a little bit. But we're here now, that's all that matters.
That's it, really.
If you are new to this channel, we are Liz and Brian, husband and wife, and we talk about life in New Zealand. In fact, we just talk about life. We emigrated to New Zealand 14 years ago. We do lots of travelling. We've got family, we've got jobs, we've got dinners, tea, all the rest of it. And we just talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
stuff.
but I'm just saying, we just talk about stuff in New Zealand.
Outside in New Zealand.
Yeah. And we're bringing this podcast to you from our home in Taranaki. So welcome and thanks for joining us. So this week, oh, you're going to love it. Well, there's been so much going on. We didn't really go to the King's Coronation, did we, Bri?
No.
We just thought we'd say
really.
that to trick you.
Yeah.
I'd love to have done. Yeah. There's been a lot going on, so we're going to dive straight into the show and just give you a typical week in New Zealand and what's been happening. So.
Yeah, we're back in Taranaki.
I just said that.
Yeah, not in Wellington.
Well, I just said that. Are you not listening?
I know I am, but I'm just making sure that you're,
oh, right,
okay. I was thinking, what did we do on the last one?
Yeah, we were in Wellington in the last one. We went on our holidays, but we're home now, Brian.
Yeah.
Do you know who you are?
I'm Brian and from the Hacienda.
Right. Anyway, so a couple of weeks ago, I got a lovely email from a guy named Graham. He sent me this big email and he told me all about a film. It was a long story. It was how he was involved in a film that was made in New Zealand in 1669.
1669, before anybody was sort of known of in New Zealand.
1969, wasn't it?
Yes, I think they were filming it in 68, 69, and it was for the... Do you want to say?
No, you say, yeah.
It was for the expo. So... the expo in Japan in Osaka. Yeah. So, should I tell the background of the story? Because it's a fascinating story, this.
Bri, do you know what? Take the stage.
Yes.
I'll drink my tea and just tell me when you're finished.
We got the DVD from Graham. Hopefully you can see this if I've got the light correct and it's not too shiny like that. Hopefully that'll be about right. So take a look at that.
Shall I read the back, Brian?
Why don't we read the back for you? You read the back.
Do you want to read the back?
No, you read. No, you know I'm reading.
Okay, listen. I'll read the back, and then Brian will tell you about the story of it. So this is what it says on the back of the DVD. It's 1971. Never before and never since have hundreds of thousands of New Zealanders queued to see a film about their country and its people. The way they used to queue for rugby or royalty. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Coronation.
That's important, yeah.
There you go.
Unique in the history of New Zealand film, this is New Zealand. Right, I'm going to let Bri take over the story now.
Yeah, I mean, so this DVD, it's got a few extras on it as well. So it's got the documentary of making of the film. So we'll start off with what really happened was, the late 60s, the UK and the EU. So it basically, the common market, as it was called. So, the UK had its hands tied in a way because they wanted to join the EU.
Don't get political, Brian.
But they couldn't buy the produce from New Zealand.
Yeah.
So, it turned New Zealand into absolute mayhem to a degree because, lots of jobs were lost and New Zealand needed somewhere to sell the produce because they couldn't sell it to the UK anymore because of the common market, or they could only sell a fraction of it,
Did the UK do them over?
Do you know what? They probably thought it was the best thing because they were trying to make after the war, they were probably trying to make a united Europe. Right. So, we could all be friends and everything like that, because you think 2 world wars in a space of, 20 years or something like that. And it's just, maybe it was a way to keep it going. So, shit happens, as they say, doesn't it? But anyway, so the World Expo in the 1970s in Japan, like I was saying, New Zealand wanted to promote itself. So there's a guy called Hugh MacDonald who was the principal director of this film. Basically was given the task. One of the team in the New Zealand film industry, I'm not going to portray this right, you need to watch the DVD to get it 100% right, but they went to a World Expo somewhere else and they saw an IMAX. So that's done in, you know, super wide screen, very big. And New Zealand wanted to do something similar, but we didn't have any Panavision cameras here in New Zealand. So New Zealand, as New Zealanders, they said, why don't we get 3 35mm cameras and bolt them together, okay, on slightly different angles, just so we can now, you know, kind of meld them into one, but not put them perfectly together. So it's like looking at three screens. And just to think about that, you think, well, that's easy. But when you think, you know, I've done a bit of editing for YouTube and stuff like that, you know, and I know what it's like to edit modern day, you know, with electronics and do a multicam with different audios coming in. But you know, this is mechanical films, you know, wet film flying around at, I don't know, what, 24 frames a second or whatever it is that they were filming back then to, you know, so you couldn't see the flickering and this, that and the other. And then to sync them together as one, just what goes into that is just phenomenal, like, you know. And then not only that, we still haven't got a projector that can film in that or project it in that wide screen. So then you've got to get the 3 cameras to, you know, basically sync together in the cinema. Just number 8 mentality. That type of thing is like, hey, do you know what, we can do this, like, you know. And they had to bring a special editing machine over that would edit 3 films at once for them, and just. I have to take my hat off. It's a brilliant film. Yeah. So, you know, if you get to see it.
Here's a story as well. So Graham emails me and says, so now you know all about why the film was made. And like Bryce said, the fact that they use these 3 cameras, you know, and we will talk about Kiwi number 8 wire ingenuity in a minute. But I just want to tell you the truth, because when Graham emailed me and said, you know, we've got this film, people, hundreds of, you know, thousands of Kiwis went to see it and it really tugged their heartstrings. And I thought, and it was made in, you know, 1969 and everything like that. You know, when you think, I mean, I'm being honest here, you know, when you think, oh, probably won't be that good, you know?
It was the most expensive film in New Zealand ever made at the time.
And so anyway, I said to Graham, I would be honoured if you'd send us that DVD. We'd love to watch it. So he sends us the DVD. We had our dinner. We sat down by the fire and I said, let's watch that DVD that Graham sent us. We put it on, and I'm not joking, for 20 minutes, my hair was standing up on my arms. It was just like, oh my God, it was just, it was just like this feeling of patriotism. Is that the word? Patriotism?
Yeah, we were born here, but it's just, my goodness, like, you know, because it's unbelievable.
It was, and it was just so cleverly made, and it was just showed, like, you know, all the snips of how things were back then. Yeah. And like, you know, kids going to school and playing in the playground, and you know, men going to work and women going to work, and just like the parks and the
a logging truck coming past.
Yeah, just so like, Kiwi, you know.
And it's great because they change from screen to screen, or they're doing like the flying over. I'm pretty sure it's Mount Kirk. They're flying over in a plane or a helicopter or whatever it is they were flying over in, and it's just the music.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the music
isn't it? Yeah, I know it's not New Zealand music, but it was.
Yeah, but it's like that. It's a little bit like when you see films of the planes in the war.
Yeah,
it's
a bit like Ride the Valkyrie. I can't remember the name of it. I should know what that piece of music was.
Oh, it's such a good little film. It's absolutely brilliant. So we couldn't come on here today and not mention it. Yeah. So I'm going to put the link in the description to this film because it's on YouTube. You can either. Watch it on YouTube or watch the trailer. And
you can watch the documentary or the trailer on YouTube. You know,
I'll just put it in the description.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah. So while we were watching that, and thank you, Graham, if you're watching, just for sending it us, because like I say, just to know more about the country that we live in, and just to know what you guys were doing in the 1970s.
Yeah, but what you inspired people to do, the likes of Graham actually says that. Sir Peter Jackson, as he is now, went to see this in 71, 72. You know, and that could have inspired him to do something because the editing alone in it was groundbreaking for what they did, you know, and just the way they brought everything together was outstanding.
Can you imagine Brian being... Oh, go on, sorry.
We even got to see a pair of walking shorts.
Oh, yeah,
walking shorts.
Yeah,
very fashionable in the late 60s and 70s.
Yeah. So if you don't know what walking shorts are, we only found this out last week.
Yeah.
Well, you say
You would wear your clip-on tie, your white shirt, longish sort of shorts, and a pair of long socks
go to work.
To go to work. But you'd walk in them as well, maybe at the weekends. A bit like not Pro 4s as you used to play golf in and stuff like that, but it's kind of that kind of look. I
So
suppose.
it just got us talking, about that whole Kiwi attitude of, do you know what? We haven't got this, massive camera or whatever it was they needed, but we can do it by strapping these 3 cameras together.
Bolt them
and
together
making
first
it
on
work.
a piece of wood, and then obviously they made a rig up for it and this, that, and the other. But it's a great. Yeah, I love the film, but I absolutely love the documentary afterwards. So Hugh MacDonald is still with us, but I think. What an amazing thing to be part of.
Thank you, Hugh. Thank you for making such an amazing film, and
Yeah.
thank you, Graham, for sending it to us.
Yeah, really appreciate it, Graham. Yeah.
So, as you know, we always talk about, life in New Zealand and just as Brits, what's the things that strike you about Kiwis and just life over here. And we got talking about the way that they're just like, they've got this real can-do attitude, the Kiwis. Nothing will ever beat them. It's like not that they're just going to go, oh, well, that's not possible, so let's just forget that, shall we? It's always, they've got an answer for it, haven't
I've got
they?
a fly in my drink. You
Well,
believe
fish it
that?
out then.
That's not nice, is it? Eh?
No, fish it out.
There we go. Look
Is it
at that.
out?
Need a piece of number 8 wire.
But yeah, just that whole, like I say, attitude. When we start, I'll give you an example of this. I mean, I think this is an example because I expected everyone to sort of like poo-pah me. But when we moved over to New Zealand 14 years ago, I'd always wanted to homeschool my kids. They'd been to school in England for 4 years. They went to school in England. And then they came over here and went to school for 2 years, I think. Yeah, 2 years. And it was always playing in my mind. When you always want to do something and you think, if I don't do it, I'm always going to wonder why I didn't do it. I was always for a start, we couldn't afford to do it in the UK. We couldn't afford to go down to one wage. And also there's this thing with homeschooling, for those of who have not homeschooled, there's always a bit of a stigma attached to it. And so it was always playing on my mind, and I thought, oh no, people are just going to think I'm weird or just like whatever. And I remember my kids got to the age of 7 and 10. And I remember saying to Bri, we've been here 2 years, we just moved into this house, built this house, and it was like a now or never thing. It was just like, look, if I don't give it a try, then I'm never going to know. Yeah. And I met a woman down the road there. She was German and she was homeschooling her kids. She was a vet and she lived on a farm down the road from us. And they seemed to me to have this wonderful lifestyle. She was kids were outdoors all day. They were doing their lessons in the morning, then they were out playing. And that to me was just like, oh, that would be a dream come true. And like I say, I remember thinking, oh, everyone's going to have the principal. She's going to just hate me. She's going to think I'm an idiot. She's going to say I'm not qualified. Had all these thoughts going around in my head, what they were going to say. So I go off down to the primary school, make an appointment with the principal of the school, Lynn Hepworth at the time, absolutely beautiful
Big shout
woman.
out to that.
Yeah, love you, Lynn.
Orkara School.
Yes, exactly. Went down there, made a meeting with her, and she's like, oh, what can I help you with, Liz? And I said, oh, what it is I'm actually going to be taking the kids out of the school because I want to homeschool them. And do you know what she did? She went, wow, good on you. And I was like, what?
I know.
You
don't normally get that from teachers, do you? You just think,
and she's like, but even better than that, she said to me, so tell me all about it. Not like, come on, hurry up, I haven't got time for this. She said, oh, tell me all about why? What is it? And I told her the story and told her the story about the vet and about how we just moved here. And she said, I admire you. She said, I think that's amazing. I think Sonny and Tess are going to love it. And not even that, she said to me, how about, she said, if you want to and it's not working out, we could always do it so the kids came to the school in the morning and you did a couple of hours in the afternoon,
Yeah, and not only that, if it doesn't work out for you after the first term, just bring them back.
Bring them back,
It was just like, wow. Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing. And that's when it clicked to me, this country is about making things work, making new opportunities work, just making your dreams happen if you want them to, Yeah. No one's there. And remember now, I'm just talking about my own experience, but no one, to me, it seems no one is there going, no, that won't work. Don't bother. You're rubbish. Forget it.
Just give it a go.
Right?
Yeah, but if you don't give it a go, if they didn't give it a go with that film, that's the same thing, isn't it?
And
you
they've
just,
made
it
that
would never
brilliant
happen.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, have you got a story about ingenuity? Is the word not ingenuity?
Well, there's ingenuity and as in engineering. That
Or what's the one that's really makes you
it's
think?
just
more?
I think the things that
Ingenuity.
the ingenuity just it's the ingenuity of you just see something. You're driving along, and you think, oh, that's an old Escort van or something, like an old Ford whatever car or something, like and then you come to a junction and he pulls away, and actually you realise it's the back end of a car being turned into a trailer. How brilliant's that? It's
What,
just like
hang on, what have they taken the top of the car?
like the whole front of the car's gone, but
Yeah.
like say you've had a van, but they've like put a piece of metal on the front and welded it round.
Yeah.
But so you're using the good part of the back bit of the van that you can use as a closed, because it's got an axle and wheel bearings and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's just things like that. You just think, how brilliant's that, like because a trailer's what, $3,000 or $4,000, like
No point, is there, Bri? Just cut your car in half.
Yep, just get the welding axe out, chop it in half, and then weld an A-bar on the front of it.
Maybe that's what we should do with our Peugeot, because our Peugeot's knackered. Not our new, not the one that we bought when we went around the world in it, around Europe. But our old Peugeot, it's getting a bit knackered now, isn't it?
No, that's me
You fiddled
because
with it.
I didn't. I fixed the gearbox because one of the solenoids has gone in the gearbox. So I did it on the driveway, and I wanted a specific oil, an automatic transmission fluid oil to go back in it, but I could only get a multi one from the local Super Cheap or whatever it was. Put it in when it's cold.
Broke it. You've knackered it, really, haven't you, Bri?
Yeah,
That's just to say that. But
it was my
we
mistake.
could always just.
I wanted a specific lower viscosity one.
We'll just cut it in half, eh, Bri?
Don't buy the multi-car one. It's not that good.
I tell you what, talking about cars, I'll just tell you this, and then I'll move on to the Coronation news. But talking about cars and homeschooling, I'll never forget, we'd been homeschooling for about 2 years then, and we started, and in New Plymouth, in case you don't know this, back then, and I'm sure it's even bigger now, there was 200 families homeschooling their kids in New Plymouth. So we had a great community. Our kids had lots of friends. It was loads going on. In fact, it was too busy. Anyway, one day they organised this flipping, pet competition where you had to bring your pet to this farm and see who had the prettiest pet or whatever. I can't remember what it was. I just remember we took Maggie and we turn up and it's at this farm, typical, so lovely farmy Kiwi people bringing out all the lemonade and all the good
stuff,
food,
the good produce.
Yeah, all the scones and all the stuff. Anyway, we had the most lovely day. All I remember was it was really hot and it was a nice day and loads of food. Anyway, then the Kiwi farmer comes out and goes, right, kids, who wants to go for a spin around the field? And who wants to go on the magic carpet? That was it. He said, who wants to go on the magic carpet? And my kids were like, what, what's that? So they takes them into this field. And what he'd done was he'd got a massive big...
Tarpaulin?
No, carpet.
Oh, it was a piece of carpet?
It was a massive big offcut of carpet, about as big as this deck, massive. Yeah. And he'd got ropes and he tied it to the back of his truck. He sat all the kids, listen to this now, right? Listen, all you Americans. He sat all the kids on the rug, right? And then he drove around the field as fast as he could, dragging the carpet behind him with all these kids just going... I remember just thinking, oh my God,
I know.
You just would not get away with that.
Imagine being in America with the suing culture that they've got there.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a suing culture in New Zealand because we have ACC, so you don't,
brilliant.
If you hurt yourself, brilliant. You get fixed.
And the kids have never, ever forgotten it. And they were just falling, because, they weren't hurting themselves. They were on the ground, but I just thought...
across the paddock, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. Yeah. But even that, it's just who ever thought, let's tie a carpet to the back of this car and then just drag a load of kids around.
So you can make it fly.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. So we just thought we'd share that and... Yeah, just join the dots together.
Those things you don't see it, even in New Zealand, you don't see it these days because, I don't know, everyone seems too frightened.
Well, go and homeschool, you'll see plenty of it.
Yeah, you will, because it wasn't that long ago, was it?
No.
Yeah, and that's what they used to do at school fetes and stuff like that, didn't they? Someone could pick up truck, a ute, and stick a carpet on the back of it and drag the kids around. It's a bit of fun.
Talking about the good old days, what about Charles, hey? King Charles. King Charles now, Bri. Put a smile on your face.
King Charlie.
Yeah. We live in a very patriotic country, don't we, Bri?
Well, you know, it's.
Don't look at my notes.
I'll look at the
I'm just
notes.
trying to trick you to see what you really think.
What, of the Coronation?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I didn't even watch it, really.
No. It's a shame. I
don't
should
know.
have done, really, but I forgot that it was on.
I didn't think they thought about people in New Zealand because it's on in the afternoon in England.
It was
wasn't
inconsiderate.
Like, and it's just like we're all in bed, mate.
Yeah. You know who went? Well, lots of people went, but do you know who went?
I don't know.
Richie.
Richie.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking? Because they had lots of people from New Zealand go to represent the country. And I thought, imagine being Richie McCaw, and getting this invite from the king.
Probably took his helicopter over.
To go, yeah, but Bri, what I was thinking though, Bri,
What?
is what if you weren't really in the mood and you got this invitation from the king and it's like, please, I know.
What do you think? Should we go?
I know.
What do you
Oh,
reckon?
really? Just say
Let's
no.
flip a coin.
Yeah, just say no.
Oh,
Say you're
it's the
busy.
Queen on here, look.
I don't know. So about that's been all the talk, of course, in England, back with our family, you know, and they're all talking about that. And it's, yeah.
I haven't even seen the new. Have they got new money out yet? I don't know.
They are going to have
Have
new
they?
money. But as a little, because I'm so organised and, you know, entertaining, I thought it would be nice to give a few facts about the coronation.
Oh.
And I don't want you to
I'm not
be looking.
I'm not allowed to look.
Well, this is the first fact that I got.
Right.
The official dish of the coronation, guess what it was, Bri? This is something that Charles and Camilla,
Coronation
King
chicken?
Charles, pardon?
Coronation chicken?
No.
Pavlova?
No. They said, this is what we want for our coronation. This is the official coronation meal. What do you think it is?
Curry and chips.
Spaghetti bolognese, please.
Yeah. I'll have a kebab, please.
Guess what it was?
I don't know.
Quiche. I know. Quiche.
How boring's that? I don't like quiche.
I don't like quiche. I'm not a quiche
It's nothing
fan.
worse when you've been travelling and someone's
Quiche?
you get to their house and like, oh, would you like something to eat? Yeah, I'm starving. Like, you know, what have you got? Oh, quiche. We didn't know how long you were going to be.
Yeah.
you did.
It's the pits.
Yeah. What? We're 10 minutes late. What's going to happen to the quiche?
Can you imagine poor old Richie flying all the way over from New
Yeah.
Zealand?
Gets there.
I know.
Quiche.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He wants a proper dinner, doesn't he, Brian? Not a piece of bloody quiche.
It's a proper rugby dinner.
Yeah.
Quiche.
Yeah. So
Quiche Lorraine it used to be called, didn't
yeah.
it? Quiche
I
Lorraine.
don't know what he was thinking. Do you think it's because he's veggie?
Is he a veggie?
Well, I think so,
We wouldn't be
isn't
able
he?
to have that then, would he?
Why not?
Well, oh, he's not a vegan, he's a veggie.
Vegetarian, yes.
Right.
So I think that's
So he can
probably
eat-
why
he can
he
eat
wants to be
eggs.
inclusive.
Right.
Include all the people.
Include all the people.
Make everyone feel inclused.
I like to be inclusive when I have my quiche.
Right,
Yeah.
and my second fact, Brian,
Yes.
you're not going to like this, I know you're not.
Why?
Guess how much money the coronation cost the country of Great
taxpayer?
Britain? How much do you think it cost, Brian?
I don't know, £12.
I know you don't know, so you're going to start trying to make
wouldn't know.
wise
I would
facts.
say it probably cost about £150 million.
Oh, you're close.
Am I?
£100 million.
Yeah. But do you know what?
It's worth it, isn't it, Brian?
Do you know what?
What?
Well, no, it is because the amount of tourism that the royal family bring to the UK is in the billions, you know?
So they're going to get that back.
Oh, God, that's a drop in the ocean, 100
Yeah.
million when it comes to that. Well, you know, when you think what the people come, you know, the Buckingham Palace, all those things that, you know, walk up the Mall and, you know, they come, they spend the money, it's up in the billions and it just, that gives money to the whole economy.
You're only
like,
saying
you know?
this because you had that argument with your sister about the money being wasted on the Queen.
Yeah, well, the thing is, people go, oh, you know, the royalty. They don't cost you that much.
I'm a
but
bit
they
of a
make
royalist,
more.
Bri.
They make more. I think that's because of the tradition of it all, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, not for much for what they do and what they did. You know, I just think, you know, we had the big gang, and our gang's bigger than your gang, and we'll have what we want. That type of thing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
well, that's what royalty was. They just took.
I was a bit
you know,
disappointed in
took
myself.
all the land
for
in the
not-
UK and had it for themselves.
I was a bit disappointed in myself, Brian, for not watching the coronation with my piece of quiche. With my piece of quiche.
We should have got a
because-
piece of quiche,
I
shouldn't we?
know,
Yeah,
we
got
should
up
have
at 3 in the
done.
morning and had a piece
You'd
of
think
quiche.
we would, wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
no, yeah, 100 million. 100 million by 200 million New Zealand dollars.
Do you know what? They would have got that back in the rights, the BBC or whatever, just on the rights for around the world to film it, to show it, like, you know,
Yeah.
to screen it. But
So that's all that to say. Oh, do you know what? Let me tell you this story before we trot off. Let me just tell you this story. Talking about royalists, my favourite royal, obviously, in the whole wide world was Diana, and will always be Diana. She's always
not King Henry VIII.
No, Diana.
Why?
Well, I wasn't alive when King Henry VIII
But
was
you
alive,
love the
was I?
Tudors.
Oh, I do. That's what I'm saying. I love the royal family history.
All right.
I do. I think this is a personal
Bunch of
opinion. I
nutters.
think they've. Pardon?
Bunch of nutters.
Who?
Well, Henry was obviously a nutter, wasn't he? Like, you know.
What's wrong with that? He was just a normal person
Yeah.
who isn't a nutter.
What you don't like, me, I'll chop your head off
I
then.
know, but what I'm saying is, it's just it's yes, I like the royal. Well, I liked the royal family up until, Diana and everything like that. And but we won't go into that here because that's a big subject. But anyway, it was about 1981, and I was at school in Newquay, not in Newquay, in St Morgan in Cornwall,
St
in
Morgan
England.
and Pidar.
Yeah, St Morgan. So I must have been about 10 because I was born in 71. So it was about 81, 82. Something. Yeah, I wasn't any older than 10. And there was this big announcement that Diana and Charles were coming to the village along from ours, St Column. They were coming to visit St Column. And so the school was closed and it was like, oh my God, Diana and Charles are coming.
It cost millions to close that school.
The teachers said to us, make sure you go and see. No one made sure to check how you're going to get to St Column, which was 15 miles away. Now, how far is St Column to St Morgan? 7 miles?
St Column. About 8 miles.
About 8 miles away. And they're like, make sure you go and see them. Well, of course, my mum and dad were both working, so there's no way they were going to take us anywhere because that wasn't going to happen. And this was in the days when if you had a day off school, you could just stay at home on your own. So we're like, me and my brother and sister were like, oh, let's walk. Let's set off really early in the morning and we'll walk to St Column to see Lady Diana. I wasn't bothered about Charles. And so we set off, and like when you do when you're a kid and you're like, you've got your water and just an apple and that's it.
For the whole day.
Yeah. And it was the summer. It was like late spring. And I just remember walking 7 miles and it just like being so excited and thinking, I'm really tired and my little feet are aching, but I'm going to see my princess. I'm going to see Diana. Anyway, we turn up at St Column and it's in like this, I don't know, some farmer's field or whatever. They'd come to cut the ribbon for some church or hall or something that they were
Have a go on a
opening.
magic carpet.
Because he's the Duchy of Cornwall, isn't he, Charles?
See, that's the land I'm talking about. They took lots of land in Cornwall.
So he's the Duchy of Cornwall, so that's why they were coming to Cornwall. And I just remember getting there and all I remember is just all these Union Jacks and all this like bunting and everyone was like so excited and just a big like barrier thing, like a rope holding back where they were going to get out of their car and walk along. You know how they walk along? And I was like, like this, trying to see all the people. So I buried myself into like all the adults and just pushed through like this and got to the front. And now I'm standing at the front
like
of
this.
the barrier. Yeah, I am. My hands are on the rope. And like, they're going to be here in a minute. They're going to be here in a minute. Diana and Charles get out of the car. There's like a bodyguard behind them. They get out of the car. They're like this. She looks so beautiful. She looked so gorgeous. It was the 80s when she had her flicked fringe, just like, oh, you are divine. And she walks to, all I remember is her skin was like porcelain. It was almost see-through. It was that perfect. And she walks along and she's like going like this with the little children. She gets to me, right? And I'm like, Diana, like this. She just put her hand straight over my head and went, hello. Right. Didn't even hold my hand.
What, to the person behind you?
To the person behind me.
Nice.
There was an old lady behind me and she gave her preference.
So say nutters.
And I just, as her hand came over like this, I put your hand up, I went like this. So I can actually say, Bri, that I've touched Diana.
You've connected.
I have connected. But yeah, all that way, 7 miles.
So I didn't realise
just to
that.
be ignored.
What was it like walking back?
Oh, that was horrible.
That would have been worse, wouldn't it? 'Cause nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
You lost all the energy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're starving hungry. Think, what are we going to have for dinner?
So that was that. That was the story of the royals and the coronation. So, that's it. We're
That's
done.
it, really. Do you want to talk a little bit about the front row?
Yes, I do want to talk about the front row because, as I always say, the people that are here now, the people that are still with us, are our true fans. If you have sat through that gobbledygook for the last 20 minutes, then you must really enjoy listening and chatting with us. And as always, I just want to say thank you so much. I'm just about to release my first ever book. I've written a book.
Yeah.
It's taken me 2.5 years.
How many thousand words is it, Liz?
It's 60,000 words, and it's all about me, Brian, and the kids going around the world for a year. It's an hilarious memoir book brilliant story.
It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And
There will be an audiobook as well.
there's going to be an audiobook for our YouTube listeners, because I know you guys like to listen, but first of all, it will be released as a book. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the people who have signed up on my newsletter and are supporting me as I write this book and get ready to publish it. You know who you are. You are beautiful. I love you. It's fantastic that you're there, because the people that are there and they send me emails and just even little comments and things like that, it fills you up. It gives you fuel. You will know this. When you're doing something hard or, challenging, and someone just gives you that little bit of encouragement, and they're like, come on, I'm really looking forward to it. Or, oh, when will dinner be ready? It smells lovely. Even that, what I'm saying though, Brian?
Yeah.
It's like, it just makes you think, oh yeah, okay, it does carry on, So first of all, I just want to say thank you. If you are on my Front Row newsletter and you're receiving those emails, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the second thing I want to say is, if you are not on that newsletter and you do want to know about the book being released and just the journey of what it's been like to write that book, I've got a video of me reading the introduction from the toilet, and I won't say any more about that. The book is called The Travel Bog Diaries. So if you would like to know more about that book and when it's going to be released, and just get that video, then I would love it if you could sign up for my newsletter, which is at
www.itsadrama.com/front row.
Yeah.
All in one word.
Front row as in, front row seat.
Front row of the seat.
Front row seat. So I'll put a link in the description again, but www.itsadrama.com/front row.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us this week. We got a beautiful email from a lady, and she said that she's at a time of her life, she's a Kiwi, and she's at a time of her life when her kids have left. Sadly, her husband's not very well. And she just said that just sitting chatting with us is like having a cup of coffee with friends. So
that's so nice when you get things like that.
Yeah, it really is. So you're wonderful. You make it. So thank you.
And we're glad that we're there with you.
Yes. So until next time, I will say thank you and goodbye.
And I'll say kia kaha, stay strong, kia u, stay true. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye now.
Imagine this. You live in a small community in the middle of New Zealand, and everyone knows everyone, and then someone does something they shouldn't be doing. So what do? Do you call the police? Do you report them?
He said these tractors are driving too fast through the village.
Yeah.
They're not sticking to the limit.
They're driving way too fast, especially the young joker.
In this week's show, we're going to share with you some more life in New Zealand and let you know what life is like down under.